Hello, dear students, and welcome back to the social science classes for class 8th. So, students, let's start today a new chapter of history named The Revolt of 1857. The chapter number is 5. Students, this chapter is very interesting, and today I am going to provide you the first part of this chapter. So, let's have a look on the topics which we are going to cover today. Okay, so let's start. Firstly, we are going to learn about the revolt of 1857. We will see what were the causes for the revolt of the 1857. Firstly, we will see the political causes, economic causes, military causes, social causes, immediate causes, immediate cause and outbreak of the revolt. Okay, so let's start the chapter. So, student, in the previous part, we have learned about or you looked at the policies of East India Company and the effect they had on different people. Kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribals, soldiers were all affected in different ways. We all have seen all those things that how craft persons, artisans were losing their jobs, how peasants were forced for paying the land revenue on time. You have also seen how people resist policies, like we have seen the revolt of tribals against the Britishers resist policies and actions that harm their interest or go against their sentiments. So let's start with the first topic, and that is the revolt of 1857. So let's have a look on the revolt of 1857. So students, the Indian rebellion of 1857 was a major but ultimately unsuccessful revolt uprising in India from 1857 to 58 against the rule of the British. Okay, so English East India Company, as we have learned previously, that EEIC was ruling as a sovereign power on behalf of the British Crown on India. This event is only known as the Revolt of 1857. So, students, what we have learned that as we are knowing that the rule of English East India Company was based on principles and practices that were against the development of Indian people, okay, that were only to promote the interest of the British, and because of those grievances of the people of India that exploded in the form of the revolt of 1857. Until till this period we have learned about everything, that how Britishers were exploited Indian people for their benefits. The revolt of 1857 was the conscious beginning of the independence struggle against the Britishers. Basically, this revolt of 1857 was the first ever attempt against the Britishers that we Indians adopted against their regressive policies. So, this revolt of 1857 is also known by various names. First, we are knowing revolt of 1857. Since this was the first ever attempt against the Britishers, so it is also known as India's first war of independence. And this war was started by the disagreement or disobeying of the Indian soldiers to their British officers. That is why this revolt is also known as Mutiny of Sepoys. Okay, so let's start this chapter. Basically, now we are going to learn that what were the causes of the revolt of 1857. Okay, what were the reasons that caused such a big revolt against the Britishers? So let's start with the first one. First one is the political causes. So students, as we have learned that the Britishers adopted many annexation and conquest policies in India for conquering the territories of India. Those policies of annexation demoralized many Indian rulers and chiefs, since the Nawabs and Rajas lost their powers in India. Okay, so basically, firstly, the Lord Marquis Wellesley, the Governor General of India in 1795 to 1805, as we have learned that this person introduced the subsidiary alliance in India, and the policies of the subsidiary alliance gradually resulted in the loss of the authority and honor of the rulers. According to these policies, British residents had been stationed in many courts of Indian rulers. The freedom of the rulers reduced, and their armed forces were also disbanded, and their revenues and territories were also taken by them. So basically, Lord Marquis Wellesley firstly introduced the subsidiary alliance that were against the development of the Indian rulers in India. Okay. Nextly, if we will see, nextly we are having Lord Dalhousie, the Governor General of India from 1848 to 1856. Lord Dalhousie was the Governor of India from 1848 to 1856, and under him the British followed expansionist policies in India. Through his policies, he had added considerable territories to the British Empire in India. The policy of annexation reached its climax when he implemented the policy of doctrine of lapse and annexed the Indian state on charges of misgovernance and absence of an heir. As we have learned about the doctrine of lapse, what was there? The ruler that has accepted the subsidiary alliance has, in case if he is not having his natural heir, that means if he is not having his real son, then the power, or if the ruler is not competent, if the ruler is aged old one, so in that case the power will ultimately goes under the Britishers. That territory will be annexed or lapsed by the Indian rulers, and it will go to the Britishers. So this was only the doctrine of lapse that Lord Dalhousie adopted for conquering the Indian territories. He said that the Indian rulers are not able to govern the territories well. That is why in the course of 8 years, Dalhousie annexed Satara, Sambalpur, Jhansi, Nagpur and Jaipur. All these policies enraged the Indian rulers against the British government. Okay, so as a part of the doctrine of lapse policy, the title and even the pension of some Indian princes were confiscated. That means now their pensions, and many Indian rulers even lost their titles also. Not only this much, as we are knowing, the Nana Sahib, the pension of Baji Rao's second son Nana Sahib, was discontinued after his father's death. Not even this, Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, as we are knowing, she was also deprived of her right to rule in violation of the recognized Hindu law, as Rani Jhansi Bai do not have her real son. Okay, after the death of her husband, she was having adopted son, and Britishers were not ready to allow her son to rule Jhansi. So that is why they annexed Jhansi according to the policy of doctrine of lapse, and like that only Nana Sahib was also the adopted son of Bajirao II, Peshwa Bajirao II of Marathas. He was also, his pension was also discontinued by the Britishers. So students, what we come to know, after this, Lord Dalhousie further proposed the annexation of Awadh, the last territory that was annexed by the Britishers with the doctrine of lapse was Awadh in 1856. The Britishers or Lord Dalhousie claimed that the rulers of Awadh are not able to conquer this territory well. That means, on the charges of maladministration, they annexed the Awadh territory also. Not only this much, they planned that how they can remove the Mughal rulers from the power. For that, they have adopted, and basically the name of the Mughal king was removed from the coins minted by the company. Okay, they removed the name of the Mughal rulers from the coins that were minted by the company. Basically, after that, not even this, Lord Dalhousie also proposed to the abolition of the title of the Mughal emperor after the death of Bahadur Shah II, the last Mughal empire. In 1849, Governor General Lord Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort. That means now Mughal emperors were not allowed to live in Red Fort and given another place in Delhi to live in. Not only this much, further, in 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar will be the last Mughal king, and after his death, none of his descendants would be recognized as kings. They would just be called princes. So, students, what we have seen that like this only, they totally, these all are the political causes because the rulers, the Nawabs of India, lost their power or lost their rights over the Indian territories. All these enraged the Indian rulers against the Britishers and encouraged them to revolt against the British officials. I hope political causes are clear to you. Now let's see the next one, and the next is economic causes. Okay, now we are going to see the economic causes. So students, the economic policies of the British also adversely affected every section of Indian society. The economic policies also negatively affected the even every section of the Indian society. Now let's see further. Basically, the British exploited the economic resources of India to their advantage, as we have learned that they were forcing Indians, they introduced commercialization of agriculture in India, they were forcing Indians for doing growing commercial crops only like indigo, tea, coffee, and all that. And they used to purchase all those raw materials at a very cheap prices. Okay, so that is why basically they used our economic resources for their advantage. Not only this much, India turned into a colonial economy to serve the British capitalist interest. They make India a hub of raw materials and a market for their purchased for their manufactured goods also. So basically India became a colony under the Britishers whom they exploited a lot. Next we will see not only this much, we have learned previously that they imposed high revenue demands also on the peasants and farmers, and they also adopted rudderless system of revenue collections. We have learned that they introduced various revenue systems in India like Mehalwadi, permanent and Ryotwari systems. We have learned that they fix the land revenue, and in case farmers or peasants were not able to pay the revenue, they forced them ruthlessly to pay the revenue. Sometimes farmers have to go to the money lenders also for paying the land revenue in the condition of crop failure. So by all these things, the life of the Indian peasants became miserable. Okay, they lost their traditional rights and deprived of their lands also. I hope it is clear to you. So all these were the conditions of the Indian farmers in India. And as we have learned that the industrial revolution introduced in England, okay, due to the massive inflow of cheap goods manufactured in British industries, Indian handmade lost goods lost their markets. As we have learned that industrial revolutions or by the industrial revolutions, many new technologies or machineries introduced, and Britishers adopted the factory system for manufacturing their goods. They used to purchase raw materials at cheaper prices from India, and they take it to Britain and used to manufacture goods, and then they used to sell those goods at higher prices in India only. Basically, as we are knowing that due to the industrial revolution, the quantity as well as the quality of the products also increased. That is why the Indian market was flooded with the British goods, and the Indian market or the Indian occupation lost its importance. That is why the artisans and craftsmen also lost their occupation, and they were forced to go towards various other occupations. Now, after this, we will see due to the not only this much, due to all those oppressive policies of the English East India Company, many a times famines became the permanent feature of the India because like flood, drought, all these become, or we can say that peoples were not getting enough food. As you can see in the picture, how peoples were starving for the food. So that is why the condition of the Indian people becoming worse day by day. So all these were the economical reason that were the causes of the revolt of 1857. This enraged the artisan, the craft persons, the peasants, the farmers, the tribals against the British community, to against the policies that were introduced by the Britishers in India. Now we are going to see the next cause, and that cause were the military causes. So let's have a look on the military causes that resulted in the revolt of 1857. Basically, the Indian sepoys were unhappy about their pay, allowances, condition of service, and discriminatory policies by the Britishers. As we are knowing that the Indian soldiers were considered inferior, and totally they were ill treated by higher British officials. Okay, not only this much, the high ranks of in the army were exclusively reserved for the Englishmen. The highest rank for the Indians were only sepoys. Above sepoys they were not promoted. Okay, so basically the higher ranks were only reserved for the Englishmen, and like this only the Indians were deliberately excluded from the responsible positions. Okay, so all these were the reasons, military causes. Firstly, because the Indian sepoys were not getting that much respect in the British army. Not only this much, the Britishers adopted, or the Britishers file out new rules, okay, that were against the religious sentiments or the religious beliefs of the Indian soldiers. I explain you one incident. Like, the earlier, or in those days, the Indians believed that if they will cross the ocean, if they will cross the sea, then they would lost their religion and caste. That is why they do not believe in crossing the sea or ocean, basically. But when there was a war in against Burma, at that time when Britishers were to fight with Myanmar, earlier it was known as Burma, for that case they have to send Indian soldiers to cross the ocean and to go to Burma. For that only, the Indian soldiers refused to go to Burma because they believed that if they will cross the sea or ocean, then their religion will be loosed. Okay, that is why not only this much, the Indian sepoys were also forbidden, were not allowed to wear their caste marks, whatever caste marks we were having. Like Punjabis were, it is very necessary for them to wear their turbans, or the Hindus used to put tilak. Okay, the beard, in some religion or caste, beard is very important. So like that only, all these caste or sectarian marks were also forbidden by the Britishers to the Indian sepoys. So all these enraged the Indian sepoys against the Britishers, because they were not equally treated by the Britishers in the British army. Now after this we are going to see the next one, that is the social causes. Okay, so basically in this we are going to learn about the social causes. That means what were the social reason of the revolt of 1857. So, students, the Britishers attempted to bring about social reforms in India. They introduced many social reforms in India, and it was those social reforms were good also, because after this many Indian social reformers also focused on all these reforms. They work in these fields to abolish all these evils from the society of India. But in the starting, when the Britishers attempted to bring about various social reforms in India, it was not liked by the general public. The social legislation against the evils, such as sati pratha, infanticide, widow remarriages, all these were considered as interference in the religious matters of India. Indians believe that Britishers are interfering into the matters or into the religious matters of Indians, about which Englishmen were knowing nothing. Okay, they are interfering in our personal matters about which they are not knowing. So the orthodox people of the society were totally against the social reforms that were introduced by the Britishers in India, and it also they thought that the British were trying to interfere in the social customs of the country. All these enraged the orthodox people of the society that were against the social reforms that were introduced by the Britishers, and that was also a basic reason for the revolt of 1857. Now later we are going to see that not only this much, the western education that was introduced by the Britishers in India and the propagation of the work of the Christian missionaries. That means at that time, since the Christian religion came to India, so the missionaries, the preachers, the teachers of the Christian religion, they were teaching or they were preaching to the common people of India, to Hindu or Muslims, and they also forced them to change their religion from Islam or from Hinduism to Christianity. Okay, so basically, this is the religious cause for the revolt of 1857. Okay, now their zeal for religious conversion and public attacks on Hinduism and Islam, they started forcing the people who belong to Hinduism and Islam to convert their religion to Christianity. Now nextly, the racial and the cultural, we can say that the racial and the cultural discrimination of Britishers against the Indians. As we are knowing that Indians are more fairer than us, so that is only the skin color, the racial discrimination also resulted or also enraged the Indians against the Britishers. The Britishers believed themselves racially and culturally superior than Indians. They believe that they are more superior at the than the Indians, and they forced the Indians to do minimal works for them. Not only this much, the land that belongs to the temples and mosques was either confiscated or taxed heavily. That means Britishers imposed heavy taxes or they confiscate, छीन लेना. They used to confiscate the land from that belongs to temple and mosque. They imposed heavy taxes on them or they used to confiscate those lands from the Indians. So all these were the reasons for the revolt of social reasons for the revolt of 1857. Now let's have a look, and here we are going to know that what was the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. What was the immediate cause, okay, that resulted in this revolt? So basically, the immediate cause was the introduction of new Enfield rifle and the greased cartridge. Okay, if someone asks you that what was the immediate cause of this revolt, so your answer will be because the Britishers introduced a new rifle or new Enfield rifle. That means in which we have to fill the cartridges. Okay, कारतूस भरना होगा उसमें. So new Enfield rifle and the greased cartridges. Those cartridges were greased. Okay, so in loading the rifle, the sepoy before inserting the cartridges had to bite off its top. As you can see in this picture, the Indian sepoys have to bite the torque of the cartridge from their mouth, and it is believed that the the material that is used to grease the cartridge was made up of beef. Beef means we can say that beef means the fat of cows and pigs. So basically it was believed that that cartridge was covered with or was greased with the fat of cow and pigs. This was totally objectionable to the Hindus as well as to the Muslims also. It was against the religious communities of Hindu and Muslim to bite the cartridge that is greased with the pig or cow fats. They were against this policy of the Britishers. So, this was the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. If someone asks you what was the immediate cause, our answer will be that the introduction of the Enfield rifles and the cartridges that were greased by the fat of cow and pigs, that was against the religious sentiments of the Hindus as well as for the Muslims also. Now we are going to see how the revolt of the 1857 outbreak. We are going to see the outbreak of the revolt of 1857. Okay, so in that, if we will talk about, there is a place in West Bengal that is Barakpur. Okay, there is a soldier named Mangal Pandey. He was he was a young soldier. Okay, Mangal Pandey, what he did in Barakpur, Mangal Pandey refused to use the rifle and as well as attacked his officer on 29th March 1857. Mangal Pandey belongs to Barakpur and he refused that he is not going to use this rifle, and even he attacked one of his officer also, and he just ran away from there. Okay, he was executed. His courage showed that the sepoys were prepared to defy orders. Now, from here only, what is mutiny? Mutiny means to defy, to disagree, that I am not going to listen to the British officers. And what happened after that? After this incident, 85 or approximately 90 soldiers of the 3rd Cavalry at Meerut. Okay, that incident took place in first incident took place in Barakpur, West Bengal. After that, 85 to 90 soldiers in Meerut, they also refused to obey the British officials. They also said that we are not going to obey your orders. After that, so this only resulted in a mutiny. The revolt started with the mutiny of sepoys in Meerut on 10th May 1857. They killed British officials and released imprisoned comrades. The people, those who were jailed, those who were imprisoned, or the soldiers, those who were imprisoned by the Britishers, in Meerut, the Sepoy Mutiny started, and on 10th May 1857, many Indian sepoys killed British officials or British soldiers, and they also released imprisoned comrades. So, like this, only the revolt of 1857 started from an incident that took place, or it started in Barakpur by the disagreement or disobeying of Mangal Pandey to the Britishers. But if someone asks you that from where the revolt of 1857 started, so our answer will be Meerut. The first center from where the revolt started will be Meerut. So students, this much I have explained you. It is also important to know why this is known as mutiny. So mutiny means when the soldiers as a group, when a large number of soldiers disobey their officers in the army, that is only known as mutiny. Okay, so I have explained you that what was revolt of 1857. I have explained you all the causes that resulted in the revolt of 1857, and this revolt was also known as Sepoy Mutiny because sepoys, the Indian sepoys, disagree or disobey the British soldiers. In the next part, I will explain you about the spread of revolt, about the major centers of the revolt. We will learn about that what were the reasons, what was the result of this revolt, and we will also learn about that what were the failures, why this revolt of 1857 was unsuccessful, why it not able to success, and what was the result of this revolt. Okay, so till this much. Thank you students. I hope you all will watch the video, read your book and prepare this chapter properly.